think I'm a moron? Do you think I don't have a mind for like I can't make, what the hell is America all about? You just said I'm a moron. That's what you just said to half of America. Hey, America, you're a moron. You can't think for yourself. That's why you need me, because I went to this elitist university called whatever, Columbia. I don't know where Rachel went to. And I know what's best for you.
Patrick bet David recently hosted a woke guest and absolutely shredded him. The poor guy thought it was just another day on just another podcast, but he clearly underestimated. PBD, this isn't your everyday host. This is a man who dissects weak arguments with surgical precision, the way Patrick dismantled his woke talking points. I'd be shocked if the guest dares show his face again anytime soon. As always, smash that subscribe button and let's dive in.
It should be addressed in good faith by people who have some idea about how to determine that. I don't know the source of COVID.
Yeah, but Jeff,
I mean,
that's
that to me.
asking,
but that these questions
not
that
what
become politicized, it seems ridiculous to me to have political debates about something that is a scientific question that people should address. And I'm agreeing that there should be investigations of all that stuff.
By the way, Brett Baer, did you see the interview with Trump?
Yes, I saw excerpts from
Did you
it,
see? Did you think he did a good job?
No.
Oh,
You mean Brett Baer?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Brett Baer did a very good
I
job.
agree. I think Brett Baer did a great
Very
job.
good
And you know how he said, this person got fired. That person got fired. This person got fired. Why do you not have a good, hire? So he asked a tough question. And then,
Right.
hey, why is it that you're keeping on to it? They were trying to get it from you. Well, I wanted to first make sure. Okay, so guess what? People want to know. Great. But people want to also know with the Corvette back and with the notes, what you had there is of Biden. People want to know.
People want to know. So the discussion kicked off when the guest boldly questioned why people even care about the origins of COVID. Think about that. Why wouldn't we care? At the beginning of the pandemic, the public was spoon-fed the story that the virus came from a wet market in Wuhan, passed along from some unlucky animal to humans. But then, as reports trickled into the press pointing toward a possible lab leak, the Biden administration quickly shut it down, dismissing it as a conspiracy theory. Fast forward a few years and the evidence stacking up makes it harder and harder to deny. The virus likely escaped due to sheer negligence at a USF fund lab in Wuhan, China, given the devastation CO brought to the U.S. from economic collapse to millions of lives. Upended, it's not just fair, but absolutely necessary that people demand answers about the real source of this global catastrophe. And here's where the discussion got interesting.
All I'm saying to you is people want to know. We want to know what's behind the truth. The comment about the fact that I'm not an epidemiologist, I'm not the expert, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm totally get it. The element of that approach when you say something like, well, you're not the expert in this and you're not the expert in that, there is a very clear, pompous, elitist message behind that. Like just like this week when MSNBC and CNN, well, we know the president is talking right now, Jake Tapper and Rachel Maddow, but we know the president is talking, but we are not going to let him have any airtime, and we're going to update you on whatever he says that's necessary because we know he's going to tell lies. I'm sorry. Do you think I'm a moron? Do you think I don't have a mind for I can't make, what the hell is America all about? You just said I'm a moron.
You can clearly see Patrick bet David getting worked up here. And honestly, who can blame him? I don't know about you, but I'm beyond tired of being silenced with the same tired excuse. You're not an expert, so you can't comment. Really? Last time I checked, having a functioning brain means I can separate common sense from propaganda. I don't need a lecture from self-proclaimed elitist leftists who think they're the gatekeepers of truth. We've seen this game before. How many times have networks like MSNBC and CNN dictated what to think, how to think, and even when to think? They push narratives dressed up as facts, hoping people won't question them. But people are waking up. We're capable of asking hard questions, spotting cooked-up stories, and rejecting the manufactured outrage. Patrick simply gave voice to what millions already feel. We're done being talked down.
Just said to half of America, hey, America, You're a moron. You can't think for yourself. That's why you need me, because I went to this elitist university called whatever, Columbia. I don't know where Rachel went to. And I know what's best for you. Guess what? I don't like that. That's why I left Iran. There's a reason why we don't live in Iran for 10 years. 10 years old when I lived in Iran, we went to Germany at a refugee camp for 2 years. Then we came to America because I want me to make the stupid decision on who I vote for, not you. Let me make the stupid decision of voting for Biden or Trump. There's a part of that where when we say, I'm not the expert, you're not this, well, no, you're a smart guy. That's why you're here. You're not a regular schlep off the street that doesn't know what. You've been involved in a lot of different things I've investigated. All I'm saying is for us to take the approach as well to say, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have this. You don't know what you're talking about. No, we're here because we don't know everything, but we're here to question things and say, this kind of sounds a little fishy. Don't you want to know about it? I do. Well, no, let's just live in the future. Forget about the past. No, I don't want to do.
And this right here is what makes America one of the greatest countries on earth. We're allowed to think for ourselves. Freedom of thought isn't just a privilege. It's the foundation of this nation. Plenty of countries around the world don't offer that same liberty, which is why people like Rachel Maddow need to give us a break with their sanctimonious lectures. They aren't exactly stellar decision makers themselves. Need proof. Just look at the chaos Kamala Harris unleashed when she was handed the border crisis. That leadership was nothing short of a disaster. We've all witnessed the endless word salads, the awkward cackling, and the false bravado that fooled no one. And let's not forget the years of woke experiments shoved down America's throat, times that the majority of people would rather leave buried in the past. Independent thinking is what keeps America strong, not the hollow preaching of failed elites.
We don't have tests to determine whether you're entitled to express an opinion on a subject. Well, the only point I was making was there are certain scientific questions, like the source of COVID, that it really does require some considerable expertise in the subject in order to have a reasonable opinion about it. That's the only point I was making. I'm not saying that, what is more than legitimate is you or Vinny or anybody saying we need an investigation.
Wait, what is this guy seriously saying? We need a science background before we can even question the origins of COVID. Give me a break. Since when did you need a PhD in biology to ask common sense questions about where sickness, disease, or pandemic came from? That's the beauty of open discussion. Ordinary people are allowed to seek answers, challenge narratives, and demand accountability. You don't have to be a scientist to spot when something doesn't add up. And in this case, it doesn't. Patrick Bet David completely dismantled the guest week argument right in front of everyone. But instead of taking the L gracefully, admitting defeat, and maybe reflecting on his flawed logic, the guy doubled down and put up one of the weakest defenses you'll ever see. It was painful to watch. And honestly, the harder he tried, the worse he looked. Patrick didn't just debate him, he obliterated him.
The ultimate question of what the source of COVID is, I want to rely on people who know something.
And who's leading that investigation?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is? I don't know.
That's my fucking point.
Yes, that's another critical question. Who exactly is leading the investigation into the origins of CO? Because if history is anything to go by, these so-called experts have shown over and over again that they can't be trusted. Just look back at the Fouché era. The last time Americans placed blind faith in his word, we were fed half-truth, contradictory reports, and results that crumbled under scrutiny. Masks were in, then out. Lab leak dismisses a conspiracy until evidence started piling up. The confusion and chaos weren't accidental. They came from people in power trying to control the narrative. It got so bad that President Biden, worried about political fallout, and Trump hammering Foucault practically gave the man a free pass. And now we're supposed to trust the very same class of experts to tell us the truth about companies' origins. Forgive me, but Americans deserve far better.
And they'll investigate laptops and leaks and this and that. But something that shut down the world for 2.5 years, no investigation. What is happening?
Adam, China runs, bro. If China could fly spy balloons over our entire country, over nuke bases, and nothing happens, nobody's investigating shit. But here's my thing.
Which is absurd.
No, but here's my thing, Jeff. And you know, I'm not an expert. Nobody in here knows shit about epidemiology, right? But guess what? It doesn't help when the experts were trying to talk and the government was silencing them. When Peter McCullough was trying to talk, when Robert Malone was trying to talk, they banned them on YouTube. They took them off Twitter. How do we even have a chance? How am I supposed to learn from the experts when they were shut down and now it's years later and now we're like, oh, it's old news.
It all boils down to this. The left didn't agree with those experts. And here's the pattern. They only believe in science or respect expertise when the so-called experts fall in line with their worldview. The moment someone dares to present evidence, data, or conclusions that run contrary to their carefully crafted narrative, the labels come out. Conspiracy theorist, extremist, dangerous. Then comes the cancel culture. Machinery, silencing voices instead of debating ideas. Why? Because the left isn't truly concerned with finding the truth. They are concerned with something far more valuable to them. Power. Controlling the narrative means controlling public perception. And once you control perception, you control behavior. That's why dissenting experts raise an alternative viewpoints. Barrett, it's not about facts or transparency. It's about maintaining dominance and making sure their version of truth is the only one that survives. Accountability.
And that's why I had the thing with Joe Rogan. He wants to have that debate with the bring a scientist.
Dr. Peter, are you following that story?
I am following.
So
what do you think about that?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I mean, I actually am sympathetic. You know, if you want to have a scientific debate, have two scientists debate it, not Joe Rogan against some scientist.
He doesn't want to do that either, though.
RFK.
But Hotez doesn't even want to debate two expert scientists that are on the opposing side. I understand the argument you're saying, like, why should he debate RFK? RFK is not. Fine. Okay, that's a reasonable argument.
Come on. Everyone has common sense, and so does Joe Rogan. He doesn't need a degree in epidemiology to sniff out which so-called expert is being genuine and which one is peddling an agenda. That's Rogan's strength. He doesn't pretend to be the authority. Instead, he creates a platform where voices from both sides can be heard. He'll bring in one expert making bold claims, then invite another with an opposing view and let them go head-to-head. No spin, no censorship, just an honest debate where the audience gets to judge for themselves. It's a simple concept, but it's also incredibly powerful, and that's exactly why the left can't stand it. The way they're working overtime to silence and censor conservative experts makes it look like they are hiding something. If the truth is really on their side, why are they so afraid of letting the other side speak?
That's fine. I'm not in that involved. I just having people who know something about it should debate, but you know, I shouldn't debate.
No, of course. Jeffrey, why do you think?
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
America wants to see this debate, conversation, dialogue for sure. Whether it's RFK or Malone or McCullough, and then versus a Fauci or Dr. Hotep, fill in the blank. In your non-expert legal opinion, why do you think this debate has not happened? Why has it not occurred yet here in America?
Well, it is happening. I mean, look, we're having this conversation.
No. But none of us are experts. I'm talking experts.
There are scientific papers being published all the time about COVID.
That's not a debate. No, it's not.
That is a debate.
Yeah, how many scientific papers have you read recently?
I haven't read it, but I mean,
nobody's reading that.
The debate isn't happening for one.
The so-called experts on the left are terrified of being exposed. They know that if their claims were challenged in a fair, open exchange, their carefully built narratives would crumble, hiding behind research papers filled with technical jargon might impress their peers. But it doesn't help. The average American, ordinary people, don't have the time or the training to sift through complex studies and decipher which ones are genuine and which ones are manipulated. And that's exactly the point. By keeping the conversation trapped in academic circles, they maintain control. But the truth doesn't need to be buried in footnotes and scientific buzzwords. What we need is an honest public debate where Both sides lay their arguments bare. Let the experts go toe-to-toe in plain language and let Americans decide for themselves whose case actually holds up under scrutiny.
People want to visualize and see
You're
debate
saying like,
just like
doctors
this.
debating with a camera on? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, like a debate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not scientific
Fauci
papers.
and Fauci and Malone.
Not scientific papers.
I think you will. There will be, given the level of interest in it, there will be plenty more discussion on this subject among people who know what they're talking about.
At the end of the day, this entire exchange on Patrick Bet David show highlights something bigger than just one debate. It's about truth versus narrative. Americans are tired of being talked down to by so-called experts and elitist media voices who insist they alone hold the keys to knowledge. We've seen what happens when we place blind trust in figures like Fouché on networks like CNN and MSNBC. Confusion, cover-ups, and contradictions. The left has mastered the art of controlling information by canceling dissent, labeling opposing voices, and silencing experts who don't fall in line. But here's the reality. Americans don't need advanced degrees to recognize when something doesn't add up. We want open debates, not lectures, transparency, not censorship. Platforms like Joe Rogan's and Patrick Bet David's give space for